Well, welcome. It is an incredibly beautiful day here, and Ann and I just wanted to share with you some of the fabulous fall fun we have with herbs. And we want you to not let this, I know, hammering this year after year, but this is our season. This is our season to plant. Everything.
Yes.
Everything. But especially the herbs, and they love this weather. They love our winters, and if you're a butterfly enthusiast, I plant herbs, I don't cook, but I love their fragrance. When we were walking through this morning and the breeze kicked up, walking through the lavender, you can't help but smile.
Love it.
So one of my favorites every year is planting dill.
Yes.
And I love it in the landscape for its texture, its beauty, and then of course in the spring for the butterflies.
Yes. It's hard to believe when you see the 4-inch pot that it can really become people size in the garden.
Oh,
And it's such a statement in the garden.
And you know, we found that all of these guys survived our event last February.
They did.
So don't be bashful on planting in the fall.
No, this is still, October 1st was still New Year's Day for herbs, as always. So we're a little bit behind that time right now, but the weather has been perfect for planting herbs.
And it was so warm going into October. It's
Yeah.
really perfect right now. So do you want to talk, we talked about the lavender briefly, but how gorgeous is this?
I thought it was fun to see this lavender and the rosemary in the form of little Christmas trees. I could just see this on the Christmas table, either one of them, just decorated with tiny ornaments. They're shaped they've been pruned.
Right, and the more you use them, it's so easy to keep this shape.
Yes, and here's a larger one that's much more developed. And the thing about the rosemary is that they really do fill a space in the garden.
They do.
And there isn't anything that really eats rosemary.
Including deer.
Including deer.
So that's so important to know that I think everything in front of us now would be deer resistant.
I do too, and that's a rare thing to be able to say.
It truly is.
It really is, and it makes it a real pleasure to plant.
Right.
This time of the year, because even though the plants are young, because some of us can't stand to get in the garden until the fall weather comes.
Right.
The plants are young, and we think, it's deer season. Are they going to be okay?
Right. Yes. And so here's fennel. And this is the green-leafed variety, but I love the bronze-leafed as well. Again, in the landscape, that the texture, but that bronzy color as the weather cools even more is stunning.
And
it's stunning.
They both have the fennel flavor that we want.
So we've got the green, the bulbing, and the bronze leaf, and again, big butterfly magnet in the spring.
Absolutely, always easy to care for as well.
So woolly thyme.
Woolly thyme.
We had a planting of this in an elevated container that once again went through that event in February, and it lasted through the summer as well.
It looks so delicate that you think, well, surely that one would freeze, but it's the leaves are quite hairy, so insects don't like this, and it's just tough as it can be. And a wonderful thing in pots where you have a mix of textures.
Right.
This can be drinking.
I think you've pointed out before, many of these plants were landscape plants before they were considered culinary.
Yes. Many of them were. I think this is one we really have to talk about because it's not very well known. Salad burnet, it's called. And it makes a wonderful plant, clustered of leaves and branches in the garden, and it also is very tough.
And it's the cucumber flavor.
Yes.
So for in the winter when fresh cucumbers are scarce. Not very good, just a bit of this in your salads. It gives you that wonderful, and it's not an overpowering flavor.
Not at all, and it is fragrant, but it's not insulting.
And a beautiful plant.
A beautiful plant with a lovely shape in the garden. This is one of my favorites. This is Greek oregano, and I think probably for many cooks, it's a flavor favorite as well. And a very, very tough plant. We grew this in a bed beside the driveway one year, and we thought we were going to have to get the big shovels out when we wanted to clear the bed. It's not invasive, but it is spreading.
Right,
and
right.
very, very posh and green.
And they should never be shy to harvest their herbs.
Absolutely not. They love it. They thrive, I think, on having
The pruning,
being
yes.
cut back.
Absolutely. And so what is this beauty we've got here?
This one is just a flowering creeping thyme. It's a tiny little leaf. A little bit harder for if you're growing thyme for the kitchen. This may not be your favorite one, but for the gardener and for the landscaper, it definitely is. And this one has white flowers.
And
on
that
it.
beautiful little dainty,
Tiny
delicate
little,
texture is
yeah.
wonderful.
But also easily prunable and easy to grow.
Right.
One of our favorites.
So this one is called Esteafate, and this is in the Artemisia family. So this is actually a medicinal herb. So they use this often to make teas for stomach upset, and there's many other things that they use it for as well. As you can see around the bottom of this pot, it's a bit of a free spirit.
It's
so
vigorous.
It's a vigorous grower, to put it mildly.
Yes.
So if you have an area that you do want really basically a ground cover, it'll do full sun to part shade, aromatic foliage, so once again, very, very deer resistant.
It has all the qualities that we enjoy and the deer don't. And
Exactly.
I love to find something like that. That's really lovely.
It's beautiful.
And I love it that it has a neat story to it.
It does, it really does.
It does. This one is a dwarf myrtle plant, which once again is a very, it's both and. As a herb, it has a wonderful fragrance.
Right.
And as a landscaping plant, it fills space. It performs like
It's a moderate grower, I would say 3 by 3 at most. Beautiful white flower in the spring. So not only do you have the aromatic foliage, but the blossoms are aromatic as well. So it's a beautiful little landscape
and
plant.
if you're a literary type of person, myrtle turns up in poetry and plays by Shakespeare and all kinds of things. So it's really nice to know that when you're a gardener.
It's
you
important.
can feel so well educated.
And so you can't have a garden without chives.
That's very true. And they're a little bit slow growing at first, and so it takes a while to get this kind of a kind of quantity for chives if you're using them. But they respond so well to cutting back, and they regrow and regrow and regrow.
Well, tell me about harvesting these. So when I first buy this, I need not cut it back immediately. How long do I wait after I plant?
Well, you can wait as short a time as you want to, because harvesting has to do with taking a little group of the leaves, if you will, and cutting this little clump off right down by the roots.
Okay.
That's how you harvest. This is garlic chives, but regular chives also, you harvest it this way. If it's cut back up here, those stems that are cut back up here will never regrow. So if you cut it back this way, you will be encouraging to put up new growth all the time, every time you harvest it.
And they colonize beautifully.
They colonize beautifully. They fill a space this large in the place where I have them planted.
Right.
And they bloom.
And I love this texture in the landscape.
I too. Pretty green. This, I believe this is the one this is the one that we like to encourage people to plant this time of year, because it dies in the summer. We all eat Mexican food all summer long, and we wonder what happened to our cilantro in the garden. It hates heat.
It does. And those that have not been successful with cilantro, they are planting it at the wrong time of year.
Yes. So it's a tough little plant.
Yes.
And it grows tall. And it flowers.
It does.
And it's a great addition to the garden visually, and it's in terms of scent. And the thing is to plant it now.
Yes, exactly.
now.
And replace it when it declines. That's when you come in with the basil.
That's right.
Right,
It'll be
not now.
It'll be time for basil when this dies off on account of the heat later
Exactly,
on.
exactly.
So those are great balances of each other.
And this is for fun.
This is a for fun, yes.
That's a neem oil tree.
And those of us who use neem oil almost daily in the garden, it might be fun to have a neem oil tree.
Exactly. And now it's going to be more tropical. I would recommend, unless you have a place to really protect it well, to keep it in a container.
In a container.
Right,
Bring
right.
it in or get it out of the weather. And
Exactly.
I think this would be a great thing to have in the garden.
Well, it's been a pleasure as always, Ann. And yeah, I see some fun here.
I do too. I like to come here and just pick out things. A, I've never grown them before, or B, I grow them every year.
There you go.